about another really great thing that will help people on social audio, which is gaining the confidence to show up
and speak.
Yeah.
Jinx. And I mentioned that line of finding your voice. And I hear this all the time when I work with women. They can take what they've learned by talking on a virtual audio only stage. They can take that, perform better on Instagram Lives. They can perform better on webinars, on summit stages. Just the stuff that you learn that you wouldn't even think that you would.
It's Coffee Social, the podcast all about social media and business. And now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Howard and Mimi Langley.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jonathan Howard.
Hello, Mimi Langley.
Why are you looking up?
Because you're up above me.
I'm looking down at you. No, I'm just kidding. Cheers, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm like adjusting my chair. I'm doing the cheers. It's all a mess.
It's a mess. Okay, we have to sip, you guys. After you cheers, you have to sip.
She likes to reinforce really basic things.
Yes, I do. It's always good to get a reminder every once in a while.
That's right. She has a 3-year-old. Can you tell?
Right. Gosh, I find myself repeating myself a lot. I was going to tell you real quick. So I went to church today.
Mm-hmm. It's Sunday, by the way.
Yes, This is when we're recording. We're recording it on a Sunday. And I went to church today. And I have to tell you, do you want to know what my favorite thing about my church is?
What is your favorite thing?
I have a point to this story,
Okay.
by the way. They have free coffee.
Is that your church's coffee? Did you steal coffee from your church to come and record your podcast?
Maybe.
Okay. So I was going to tell you a story about church today. Oddly enough. So I just got in the mail, and we'll give Supply Matter a shout out. So these little things, and they're men's fragrances. And they're like little wax things. So here, let me open it. So you just kind of put a little bit on your finger and wipe it on. So not only did the very nice old woman at church tell me I smelled really good today, but there was a woman in the pharmacy line today that was like, "You smell really good." I was like, "Okay, creepy." But Supply Matter, which I found on Instagram, they apparently smell really good to people. Legit, 2 people in like an hour.
How? Do they have female scents?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Although this one, the Refresh, is a little fruity.
Well,
I didn't want to say fruity, but I did because the other one is not as fruity. It's a little bit more manly, but.
Well, just to tie in smell to business, I mean, again, going back to the confidence, when you smell good, I don't know, it ups the boot. It boosts you a little bit.
A little bit? Okay.
Jonathan Howard.
Yes.
I think this is probably going to be my favorite episode. I'm so stinking excited.
Oh my God, you're excited?
Yes, because we're going to talk about social audio.
Lord help us all.
Thank you. Honestly, like let's jump into this. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, just in case it's someone's first time here at Coffee Social.
Yes, if it's your first time here at Coffee Social, where have you been? You finally found home. We're here for you. My name is Jonathan Howard. I'm the owner of Success on Social, and I help successful female coaches reach their ideal clients on social media using short form video, sharing their story, and changing the world. And Mimi, since this is social audio, we're talking about social audio, and this is your like home field. You got home field advantage here. You teach social audio. Why don't you tell people a little bit about who you are, but also how you got into social audio?
Thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, just real quick, if you don't know what social audio is, it's basically a form of social media where it's voice only. There's no video, very limited pictures, and that's social audio. We'll talk about more about the platforms and what they offer, but real quick, hi, I'm Mimi Langley. I teach women in business how to host rooms, how, on social audio, how to moderate on social audio, to gain visibility, to make more sales, to grow their email lists. And it's been a wild ride because I've been doing this for about 3 years now. And okay, this is where it started, Jonathan. Are you sure you're ready for this? I feel like you've heard my story. You've heard my story before.
I love stories.
I know you do. You love teaching storytelling and practicing it. Okay, so this all started during the middle of the pandemic. 2020, just had my first baby. Very lonely, as a lot of people were during that time, right? Like you could not leave your house. Like I was longing for women in my life that understood what I was going through, right? Like other moms. I was longing for that. Like, I'm like, I would pray and I would be like, I just, please, someone, Lord, send me somebody, send me a mom that totally gets what I'm going through right now, because I feel so alone. And it's so crazy because little did I know, God sent me, I always say this, he sent me a social media app called Clubhouse. And my friend Angela, she's actually the first one that told me, she's like, you need to get on there. Like, and I, it's, when someone tells you about a new social media platform, you're just like, whatever.
Do it.
Not going to do it, but thanks. Right?
Yep.
You put a whole bunch of party emoji poppers, party popper emojis. So anyways, I ended up getting on Clubhouse and I was just like, this is my world. Like, there were so many different conversations happening. Again, it's audio only. So I could look like a hot mess. No one would care, right? My background's a mess. No one can see it. All we're doing is talking to one another. And there were so many different kinds of conversations happening. And anyways, that long story short, it's like I fell in love with the world of audio. And gosh, so much has come from it. So I'm excited that we're going to be talking about kind of like the untapped potential of social audio. I know we're not in the middle of the pandemic, like the hardcore pandemic anymore, but it's still very much relevant, and it helps both of us. You as well, Jonathan. It's helped our businesses so much. So are you pumped?
Yeah, I'm pumped. Mimi, though, I want you to tell us just a little bit about how you turned like it saving you like from being lonely and all that to a business opportunity.
Okay, so thank you. Because I always think about this. I'm like, wow, again, it's just been a wild ride, because I went into it just wanting companionship, relationship, like friendship, really. I didn't go into Clubhouse social audio with a business, and I remember, getting on stages and speaking and really finding my voice, because I was so nervous, so stinking nervous at first to talk, right? And then you kind of start getting comfortable and you figure out, like, you just find your voice. It's a form of public speaking, right? It's not easy for people. I remember I was in a room and it was about like the group of moderators, they were teaching about hosting rooms, like hosting your own rooms. And they were, they had people on stage, and there was one girl who was on stage. I'll always remember this. I was listening. So I wasn't on stage. I wasn't able to talk, but I was listening in as if you're listening into a podcast, right? And I remember she said, like, no one cares what I have to say. It's almost like she lacked that confidence. And I'm in the audience, Jonathan, and I'm like, you can do it, because that's just who I am. That's my mission in life, is just to pump women up to live the life that they want to live. And so anyways, I knew from that moment on, I'm like, all these women they need direction. They need to learn the tools and stuff, but they also need encouragement. They need someone in their corner. I want to be in their corner. And so that's kind of where it started. I know that was kind of a little bit of long-winded, but yeah, that's where it started, Jonathan.
That's where it started. And I met Mimi on Clubhouse. That's where we met. And, one of the things which is funny to me is there was a group of moderators and Mimi was part of that. And I always aspired to be on that moderator panel. It was like I wanted to be like, if I had gotten on that moderator panel, I'd be like, I finally made it. I made it on Clubhouse, because it was some of the best people on Clubhouse that were part of that moderator panel. And it's very funny. I ended up being, one of the lead moderators on that panel eventually, which was very cool. But yeah, there's so many things that you can get out of social audio. So let's talk about the untapped potential. Also, we probably want to let people know what social audio is fully, right? And where they can find it.
Yeah. So, we talk about Clubhouse, which is still very much a relevant app. You can go to your app store and download it on iPhone or Android. And so Clubhouse is, first and foremost, that's social audio. Like that's what it was built was for social audio. So on Clubhouse, you can have live rooms, like you're listening to a live podcast, but you can interact with one another, right? If you want to say something, you can raise your hand. The host of the room will bring you up on stage. It's a way for you to talk to each other in real time. And then there's other platforms like LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn's been around for a long time, and they've adopted the concept of social audio. So they have LinkedIn audio events, right? And then there's, Twitter, which now is called X, right? And X has their own version of audio only events. So, so there's live rooms, There's especially on Clubhouse, there's a thing called voice chats. So it's almost like you're leaving voice messages for each other. And then you brought this up the other day, and I never really put that in the same category, but you talked about Threads and how they're including a form of social audio. Right, Jonathan?
Yeah. Threads has a form of social audio in the fact that you can comment on a thread with your voice, which I believe X does as well. It's been a long time since I've been on X.
Same.
am not a fan. So it's been a while, but I believe X has that option as well. But it's a great opportunity because the voice, and I'll let Mimi talk a lot about this stuff, but the voice has so much power to connect you with other people. You're listening to us here on the podcast, in other ways, the voice has ways to impact people and bring them along the ride with you.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, because obviously video has a lot of impact as well when we see each other's faces and all that. But the thing I think I love most about social audio is that it is so easy to get on. Okay, and what I mean by that is I don't have to have special equipment. I don't have to get all camera ready. I don't have to make sure my background is nice and clean and all set up. I don't have to have lighting equipment. I don't have to edit anything. It's literally like I can wake up in the morning, turn on my phone, start talking and growing my business that way. I mean, the convenience and the flexibility of it really can work wonders in your business, or even if you don't have a business like I didn't.
Yes. So why don't we talk quickly? Why don't we hit the business things since we're already in the business realm? How can you use Clubhouse for your business?
So one of the biggest, there's a lot. I feel like they're all equal here, but one of the biggest ones is gaining leads from social audio, from Clubhouse, LinkedIn audio, etc. And that is either you have a lead magnet, so you're trying to grow your email list and you have like a free resource that you can give to your audience who's listening in. Especially Clubhouse, you can pin a link, one click for the listeners, and they can go directly to your sign up form. So social audio is a great way to kind of teach, your expertise, kind of give that mini masterclass, show people that, hey, I have knowledge in this, and say, hey, I also have this resource for you to take away with you. Sign up for it now, so gaining leads for sure. Yeah.
And also you can sell. This is one of Mimi's favorites. You can sell from the stage. One of the things that you can do is sell from the stage. And, I've sold plenty from the stage. I know Mimi has sold plenty from the stage. It's a matter of building that trust with your audience first, but then having something that you can sell to them so that they can make a purchase. And it may be a small item, small dollar amount, or it may be slightly bigger, but you have the opportunity to sell from the stage. You want to talk more about that?
Yeah, it's an option. It might scare people. They might be shaking right now. They're like, what? You want me to sell from the stage? You don't have to, of course. You can sell people through your email list once you get them on the lead magnet. But you can absolutely sell from the stage. Think about this. A lot of the times we're spending like an hour with people in these events, in these audio only events, and we're giving tip after tip after tip. It's like they're there for it. They're falling in love with you. I always say it's like you're building that like, know, and trust real quickly, and they want what you have to offer. And so, yeah, you could absolutely sell from the stage. Strike while the iron's hot. Have you ever heard that, Jonathan?
I've heard that, and it's important because you've got them there if they're ready. And I know that I've personally been in rooms where I felt like at the beginning of the room, I don't know these people. At the end of the room, I've got like all the trust in the world. Now, I'll go back and check myself and be like, whoa, hang on a second. But that's how powerful the voice is it can build that trust to such a huge level. So I think it's really, really important. So, but what if I'm not a business? What do I do on social audio if I'm not a business?
So I think one of the things that blows me away, and the fact that I was talking with somebody, I can't remember who it was, but we were talking about how this one particular feature or benefit is free, which shocks us. And that is the power of networking. Like, even if you're not in business, the fact that you can network, and you're probably like, well, why is that important if I'm not in business? Well, you never know. When you meet somebody, you never know how they're going to change your life. That's the cool part, right? It's like social audio is international. Anybody in the world you can talk to. You just never know. Like, what if down the road you're not in business, but you develop, an idea to start something, and you remember, oh my gosh, like I met so-and-so here. She does this. She could probably, I could probably reach out to her and she'd be willing to help. Or maybe you're trying to buy a dog and you have questions about a certain breed, and you know, met somebody on Clubhouse that you could talk to about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many people from all over the world. I mean, I have met so many from Australia, from England, from, you know, I've gotten to be in meetings in those places or teach in Australia or, you know, all of that. And it's from Clubhouse. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy, you got to love that. That is the power of the app, especially now with the asynchronous chats, because you meet people from all over the world because you don't have to be on at the same time.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like we can definitely talk more about the asynchronous. You know, I hate that word, asynchronous.
Yes.
I say it well now. Okay. But yeah, and, you know, from networking and meeting one another, I mean, collaborations form. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. There's so many ways to start collaborating with people, and people are so willing to do it. You know, you can collaborate right on the app itself, either Clubhouse, LinkedIn Audio, wherever you choose to go. You can collaborate on podcasts. You can collaborate on Instagram Lives. Heck, people will even ask you to speak at their summits. Has that happened to you, Jonathan?
The one that I'm going to be speaking at in May is somebody I met on Clubhouse. So lots of opportunities there. You never know.
You just never know.
Mimi, I got one question because the last two are my favorites. Don't tell anybody.
Okay.
But these last two are my favorites.
Do I need to sip my coffee for this?
Sip your coffee. Okay, you ready for one of my favorites? Talk about market research.
I love this because this could help, especially if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, right? You have an idea of what you want to create, but you're just not, you need to fill in some of the holes. And I love that on social audio and specifically Clubhouse, you just say Clubhouse for the sake of just saying Clubhouse. It's all in real time. You're getting that real time interaction with your potential target audience, right? And so they can help you fill those holes, right? They can tell you their pain points. You can have them fill out a Google survey. I've done that a ton of times where I've created a Google survey, form, and I will pin it to the top and ask people to fill it out. And that's another great way to get market research. Jonathan, you are like the king of market research on social audio. You always inspire me, like different, avenues to try out. Like, what would be an example that I haven't given already?
So I would say one of the best ways to do it is, honestly, I go into rooms where my target audience is speaking, and it may be another social media person's room. So I will go in incognito in my second account, which I don't have Clubhouse. I don't have a second account at all.
Well, what's the name of your second account? Okay, go ahead.
I'm not telling anybody.
Okay.
I'm not telling anybody.
Tell me off camera. Okay.
No, I won't tell you off camera. So I have a second account that I will use to go into rooms and just listen. I don't want to go up on stage. I want to listen to the words that my audience is using. I want to listen to their pain points, and I want to listen to what their desired outcome is. Because without their desired outcome, I can't build a product that gets them to where they want to be. So just going into a social audio room and listening for those things brings you so far in developing who you want to create your product for, and knowing what language they use and what they like and what they do, and what they want out of it in the end. I love doing market research on social audio. It's so much easier than we used to have to do it.
Yeah.
Surveys and...
I love that you use the word easier, because the fact that you're not even creating any content, of course we want you to create content, but like that little strategy right there, you're just going in and listening as if you were listening to a podcast episode. Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not, you're just in the audience, and like, you're just kind of marking down what people are saying.
Live feedback. Gotta love it.
So good. So good. Okay. Yes. That is market research. I mean, there's so many different angles of it, but we gave you guys enough to be hopefully excited about social audio if you haven't been on there yet.
Yep. I think we did. Mimi, there's one more though.
Yes, there is. I don't want this to end though, Jonathan.
I know, but we're already at 20 minutes.
We try to keep these episodes digestible. We all know this.
Yes. So
Jonathan won't let me have a 3.5 hour podcast episode.
I will not. We'll talk about that next episode.
Okay.
So talk about another really great thing that will help people on social audio, which is gaining the confidence to show up
and speak.
Yeah.
Jinx. But it kind of ties back to what I was saying when I was talking about my story. You know, and I mentioned this, that line of finding your voice. And I hear this all the time when I work with women. You know, it's like, I feel like they can take what they've learned by talking on a stage, on a virtual audio only stage. They can take that and bring it all over the place, Jonathan. I mean, they can, you know, perform better on Instagram Lives. They can perform better on webinars, on summit stages. I mean, just the stuff that you learn that you wouldn't even think that you would, you don't even think that you're building this speaking muscle.
For me, the biggest change was it gave me the confidence and the practice to just keep doing it. Like, I always had another stage I could speak on. And that gave me the practice I needed to be confident to go into a room and go up and talk.
Yes. And
you know, just the repetition.
Absolutely. I mean, where else are you going to get that kind of practice? And, you know, being on stage, now that I'm thinking about this, what you were just saying, like, when you're on stage, you never know what someone's going to ask you. I mean, it's like the perfect, do you know what I mean? It's like the perfect, like, that's just like a whole nother level of experience right there that you're gaining, right? Like,
oh my God, yeah.
Something for your toolkit. Yeah.
Something for your toolkit, something to make you really respect how much you know as whatever your niche is. I know for me, like, you know, being on that social audio stage with you guys, I was like, okay, I can answer this. I can give a valid, you know, like, okay, I got this. These guys are the experts. Like, I'm just a peon here. I don't know what's going on. But I could answer the questions, and it helped me build my confidence there. But I'll tell you, when I used to do rooms with Rocky, oh my God, because it was one of those things that you got asked everything. Mm-hmm. And you had to be on your toes, and you had to know. Because we may be doing a room about this, but sure as shit, somebody was going to come up and ask a question about something else.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you always have something in the back pocket, right? Like, that's, and you don't usually get that kind of experience anywhere else. Like,
right.
This will fast track you into getting that kind of experience 1000%. Don't let it scare you.
Absolutely.
If anything, it's only going to help you. And when you don't know how to answer a question, just be honest. That's a great question. Let me find out.
Let me find out. I know we've done that many times.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question, but we'll get back to you. And then you get back to them.
Usually.
So, Mimi, since this entire episode has been completely backwards, I've been asking the questions, you've been answering the questions. Do you want to do the ending part?
Oh, am I pulling something out of my back pocket?
Yes. Well, go ahead.
Then you have to do the question.
I will.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to wrap up this episode. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much for listening in and watching in. We are on YouTube, just in case you aren't watching. We're on YouTube at Coffee Social Podcast. We are on Instagram. Follow us there for updates and behind the scenes. And sometimes we go live. We do encourage you, though, wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple, Spotify, we would appreciate it if you'd rate us. Give us those 5 stars if you're able to. Give us a thumbs up if you're able to. And if you're able to, please leave us a review. We love seeing them, and we'll definitely give you guys future shout outs, whether it's on Instagram or a future podcast episode. Also, we have a lot. Now, we have a lot of podcast episodes. So if you're enjoying this one, we have a lot. And the podcast is all about social media and business. So there's always something to learn. Jonathan Howard.
Absolutely. Well,
how did I do?
By the time this one comes out, you did very well. I'm very impressed. But we have to now go to the most important question. The question that we ask at the end of every episode.
Yes.
Are you ready, Mimi? Okay. Are you Team Jonathan? Or you can't do it?
Yes, I can.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Jonathan Howard.
Bye, Mimi Langley.